Hey guys, this week on Hooked, the Kayak Anglers Resource, Justin McClanahan, Eco Fishing's Facebook guru. Stay tuned for the show.
Hey, enjoy it, guys. Can't wait to see you.
Hey guys, welcome to Hooked, the Kayak Anglers Resource. We're glad to have you back. Johnathan, how's it going, buddy?
Man, it is good. It is hot. It's been hot outside, man. I'm ready for some cooler weather. I'm ready to get fishing. You work me like a dog, and I have not been able to fish as much, but it's been good. It's been really cool visiting with customers, talking to people, selling kayaks. Life's great right now, man.
It's been a good week here at Eco. A lot of great customers. A lot of different kind of customers. We've had, I think we talked about this last week as well, but the age variance has been absolutely amazing. And, you know, guys, the coolest thing that we get to deal with every day is when people come in with just different hurdles that they're trying to overcome, whether it be, you know, physically or the body of water that they're in or the type of fish that they're after. People get to come in here, and man, we got the best job in the world, bro. I mean, we get to talk about fishing and kayaking for a living, but man, it sure feels good when you're putting that kayak on the back of somebody's truck or on their trailer or wherever we're putting it, and just seeing how excited they are to get in the water.
Yeah, man, it's really cool, you know, talking to people and helping them through their kayak that they already have. On the flip side, it's really cool seeing people's faces just light up, like when they look and see it. Autopilot with a motor on it, spot lock. It's really, they're like, I didn't know they made stuff like this, and it's awesome on a daily basis to be in here and interact with customers and interact with, you know, people like you guys, whether you're online or whatnot. It's really cool.
Yeah, and you know, we're gonna have Justin McClanahan on here in a little bit, which handles our forum for Hooked, the Kayak Anglers Resource, as well as Eco Fishing Shop and their Facebook page and things like that. Great guy. He lives in Minnesota. We'll get to talk to him a little bit about some of the stuff that he's done. But before we get to that, guys, you know, the forum is something that we are super excited about. Justin does a heck of a job with it. He's the moderator, and we'll explain some of that. But, you know, we're going to start interacting on the forum a little bit, and we definitely ask that you do the same. Whether you are a novice looking to ask questions, or you just bought a new kayak, you've been doing it a while, and you have questions about how to rig it or things to do. But man, don't be afraid if you are a guy that has been doing this for years and has been through the paces and understands it, to get on there and just answer other people's questions. That's how we learn, you know, about different, you know, either fishing techniques or bodies of water or kayaks or, you know, where to mount your anchor wizard or your, you know, can I put a power pole on this? Or, you know, you're always a good resource for, you know, when somebody's looking to do something to a kayak and it doesn't have that, you know, the stuff that you've done with One Objective and different manufacturers and vendors. Man, the forum is an awesome place for us all to use for just like-minded people to get on there. Johnathan and I haven't used it as much as we should. We're going to definitely start, but we definitely encourage everyone to check that out.
Yeah, it's really a good spot. And if you're one of those people that are anti-social media, anti-Facebook or whatever, there's no politics, there's no negativity. It's just guys and gals that are wanting to get on a kayak, whether they're fishing or not. And it's really cool because, I mean, you can talk about, you know, upgrading or modifying your kayak, or you can just talk about fishing opportunities, you know, where you've been fishing and stuff. And it's really cool to interact with people. Just like we were going to talk to Justin, you know, he probably fishes completely different than us here in the Midwest and up there in Minnesota. And it's just another avenue to reach out to to other anglers, other kayakers, and just be ultimately just a community. And that's our goal with the podcast, with Hooked, overall with eco fishing is being part of the community. As much as, we can be a resource, we will, but we're just excited to be, able to enable you guys to get out on the water and do what you love, whether it's fishing or not. And that's been the coolest thing about doing all this.
Yeah. We just really get to enjoy just mixing it up with people on a daily basis, and excited to talk to Justin about the bodies of water that he does and the different types of fishing. But then what his investment is into the forum and his learning curve as he's gone into becoming a kayak fisherman, angler, and really just enjoying that. But so you are going to be going to, or we will be going to Norfolk here in a couple of weeks. But Johnathan and I are actually going to go up this weekend and do a little fishing, and a couple other pro staffers may go with us, but we're going to go up there and do a little fishing. What are you looking forward to there on Norfolk?
You know what? I've never been there. It's going to be a completely new body of water. I've done some map studying and talked to other anglers that have fished there. I know, it's very similar to Table Rock. It's going to be, deeper, clear water. But maybe we can find something. But it's, Robbie said it the best. Any new lake or new body of water is his favorite body of water. And it's really fun going through and breaking down lakes, and it's totally different. And we'll talk to Justin about this too, but it's totally different fishing from a kayak than a bass boat or the bank, and you can really get to some of the sneaker spots where you can't get to them. And that's my enjoyment. That's what I get out of it. And yeah, I can't wait to just get on the water this weekend. Maybe, who knows? What do you think? We take a kayak out that you haven't been in, maybe.
Kind of thinking about taking the Gnar.
Man, you keep looking at that thing. I catch you. I walk you up in, and I see him. He's just like, putting his finger on it, just looking at it. I think we need to take it out and let you get on it, man.
I'm an Old Town guy. Say all the time what the boats that we have, but I'm an Old Town guy. But the Gnar is different, and it's an intriguing boat. And you're going to be out in the new Hobie PA14, probably going to have to test drive that a little bit. But the Gnar is one that I'm really curious about, that boat. I know it's heavy, but man, is it rigged out already? I mean, before you even rig it out, it's rigged out. So I'm anxious to do that. Actually, on the forum, if anybody has a Gnar and has done anything with a Gnar, man, send me some pictures on the forum. Let's talk about that boat a little bit. I'm a Jackson guy. I was a Jackson guy well before I was an Old Town guy. I have a Jackson Bite with the flex drive, and it's my river fishing rig, and I absolutely love it. And I know a lot of Jackson guys, but it seems like all the Jackson people I know are river people, in a good way, not like the A&E river people, but the Gnar is their, and they've had the big rig and some other boats, but I just felt like they were just too big. But the Gnar, it is a big boat, but it's just really efficient with the rod holders and just the way it's set up. I'm just really curious about that boat, and I think it's going to have to take a trip this weekend.
I'd be interested to see how you do on that. But definitely, like you said, get on the forum. You can create a tab, a feed just specifically to a Jackson Gnar if you want to, and that's what we want to do. Is as much as information we want to put out there, you can really specialize and talk about exactly what you're interested in, exactly what you want to do, rather than joining a Facebook group that you may get 10 different yahoos and saying whatever they want. You can do that in the forum and not deal with that other stuff like that. And so that's, if you've got a Jackson Gnar, start a tab on there. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you don't like, what you like, anything. Show us some pictures. We'd love to see you on the water with it. It'd be really cool to see that and interact with you all.
Right. That's how we learn about some of these kayaks, and I think that's why I'm so curious about the Gnar, is because we just haven't, and it's a new boat. So I don't want people to think that it's, because of it, there's something wrong with it. It's just, it's a new boat. So I haven't heard that much about it from the everyday anglers that we have come in here or talk to us on social media. A ton of AP guys, a ton of MK guys, a ton of Hobie and Pro Angler guys. new canoes, Unlimited and Frontiers. We talk to people then in all of these boats, and I think that's, like I said, that's why I'm kind of drooling over the NAR a little bit, because I really want to get that thing on the water. So I think we're going to do it.
Yeah, it should be a sweet platform, and it'd be interesting to get out there and test it for ourselves. Following back on our last episode, we had 2 guys sign up for the Big Bass 250, so we'll get their prizes out to them for signing up. There's still 3 spots available. We'll get those out probably next week. So if you haven't signed up and you're interested, here's just a little incentive to get you motivated, get you signed up. Congrats to Danny Johnson and to Jenny Grider. I think actually Jenny talked to you about her son or someone fishing.
It's actually something very cool that we wanted to make sure people know. So this mother called me, and her son is 15. He's a Boy Scout. He's in the Scouts. He's a crazy, and we've done some stuff with the Scouts here at the shop, and but her son is just ate up with fishing and kayak fishing. He lives a couple hours away, but he really wanted to get in the tournament. If you are a youth angler, as long as you have parental supervision, it doesn't even have to be parental supervision. As long as you are supervised, somebody else is out with you, then yeah, he's 15 years old, more than welcome. He's going to be out there, and I hear the kid's a stick, so he may be able to get some tuition paid for college.
It'd be pretty cool to see him steal some lunch money from some people.
That would be pretty cool. But yeah, so if you want to bring your kids up and get them in it too, like we've been talking about from the beginning, we really want the Big Bass 250 to be a destination thing where whether it be a group of friends, a group of families, or just your family comes to beautiful Lake of the Ozarks in what we consider the very best time of the year to be here, which is the fall, and come up when the bass are going to be absolutely crazy, and just enjoy what this body of water has to offer, because we don't think it's in Party Cove. We think that you can get away from the big boats and actually go really see what this lake has to offer. It's going to be a great time.
Yeah, a lot of local bass fishermen, whether they're kayak or out of bass boat, they talk about November. I know a lot of guys talk about a jerkbait and how that is such a good bite. But overall, I think November is going to be a great time to do that. And I honestly think we could see some really big fish coming out of this tournament.
For sure. And there's a Big Bass Bash here a couple of times a year. That is actually 2 weeks before our tournament. So it'll be kind of cool to kind of follow that and see kind of what they're pulling. And I'm sure some guys will be seeing what they're pulling them on.
Yeah.
But I think that it's going to be a lot of fun. I think the turnout I'm hoping is going to be great. But go ahead and get signed up, guys. We're ready to start making that thing happen.
Yeah, definitely get signed up. Like I said, 3 more spots available for that prize, and then by the time this comes out, it'll probably be past August 1st. But we'll those next 3 guys, whoever signs up, guys, gals, kids, whoever, we'll get you guys a special prize out to you, as soon as we can. But let's jump into the forum. Let's talk to let's bring Justin on, talk about the forum, and hopefully that intrigues you guys to get signed up for that as well.
Justin, right after this.
Hey, what's up, guys? Just like we just talked about a minute ago, we've got Justin McClanahan on here. He's kind of the heart and soul of our Hooked, the Kayak Anglers Resource. He's dug in deep, and he set up our forum. We call it a forum, but really it's a resource. So, Justin, man, thanks for being on here. Really appreciate you coming on with us, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm excited to put a face to the name to all the people that I've been responding to and on the forum.
And you're up there in beautiful Minnesota. How's the weather up there today?
Perfect. Feels like fall.
Nice.
What I always explain to people too is every time people talk about Minnesota, they always think like, what do you got snow on the ground for 9 months of the year? But actually the reality is it is just an absolute roller coaster, because I'm down in southeast Minnesota and it is so up and down. We got 100-degree heat index days, and then the next day it'll be 68 and perfect, no humidity. But it is just, or, a 60-degree winter day down to -30. We've had 100-degree swings here too. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Plenty of fishing.
I love it.
Plenty of fishing.
I am lucky enough to be in the southeast corner, which is one of the most dense cold stream areas on the planet. It's called the Driftless region. So tons of trout fishing here is what we're known for.
Very nice. Well, hey, so like Johnathan said, Justin does a lot of the social media stuff, and also is developed our forums. But before we talk about that, I kind of want to talk about you a little bit. I know you recently, worked with me quite a bit on selecting some kayaks, and to kind of see where you're at on that. I know you got a couple of Van Hunk pikes. Started off looking for a tandem, but then he went to the pikes. Yep. How's it going?
Great. We love them. I joked with my wife once I started, I had to stare at kayaks, and everybody's posting their pictures of their kayaks and, in the Facebook groups and on social media, and had to write stories about how great they were. And, I would periodically get called out for, well, which kayaks are you in? And my answer would always be some clever wording to not really admit that I hadn't had one yet. So I had to keep working on the family to allow me to buy some. But like you said, I started out looking at the tandems because I figured, well, the two of us could go. It seems like a good bang for your buck. But, with a lot of river fishing, I would be fishing a lot by myself. So luckily working with you, I kind of figured out managing that would be extremely difficult in the rivers and tight trout streams and all that stuff. So yeah, so we ended up with the two Van Hunks pikes, and we love it. And I will say, I used to own a boat, and I have had the kayaks out more in 2 months of owning them, probably more than I ever had my boat out in total.
Well, Justin had told me that he was looking at a tandem, and first thing I asked him was, give me a percentage. How often are you going to go together, and how often are you going to go by yourself? He said, probably 70-30, by myself 70% of the time. I said, then you're going to hate 70% of the time that you're out on a tandem kayak by yourself. And then his son, how old is your boy?
So I have a 6.5 and a 3.5-year-old.
Yeah, and the 6.5, I was like, man, he's not far off. He ain't going to want to be in that tandem very long. So, getting a couple, eventually he's going to, I imagine he'll take one over, and you'll be looking for more. But was glad to help you, and glad you found him. I had to use the everybody else is doing it too, honey, a couple of times myself. So glad it worked.
I was going to say the family's hooked too, and it's not even me that's already eyeing some of the next step ups.
Nice.
Or on to the next one. So it's the family. And my 6.5-year-old already thinks that mine is his. So I feel like I've already lost it.
And really, that's the ultimate goal of Hooked, is whether you go through Eco Fishing Shop or your local shop, we want the guys that maybe have not had an experience in a kayak or been around kayak fishing. We'll cater to the tournament anglers just as much, but really, there's so much information on kayaks that it's not easy to do unless you're going to your local shop or unless you're doing your own research. But that's ultimately what we want to do, is just be a resource. And I think you've done a great job starting off the forum and getting conversations in there, and it's really exciting to see people interact within that.
Yeah, and a forum really it's a little different than say your Facebook groups or some of your social media. An online community is a group of people with similar interests forming relationships, right? It's no different than going to a gathering with your friends down the street. The biggest difference is it's virtual. The reason that we started the forum was because of that exact reason, of wanting to form a community, wanting to form a resource for people. Quite honestly, a lot of the questions in there right now are my own, and that's not me just posting them to fill space. It was me as a newcomer trying to also find answers and meeting a lot of people who are in that same boat. In any situation, a lot of people are just always afraid to ask that question that I'm guessing a lot of other people are wondering too. And buying a fishing kayak was intimidating. I had done a few smaller ones, but this was jumping into a whole new ball game, right? So that's what we want that resource to be for. Not just even the newcomers, the people who are extremely experienced and looking to mod stuff out or troubleshoot. And really that's kind of the goal, right? It's hard to quantify the value of a forum too, right? the value isn't necessarily to the company or who sponsors it. It's to the people who are in there interacting. It's to the people who are there to learn, to share.
I know we talked before we got on here, and I really liked how you kind of described a forum versus Instagram or Facebook, and kind of run us through that, and what are the advantages of doing a forum compared to doing like our Eco Fanatics page or doing just a Facebook page that may be on one brand of kayaks.
Well, and before you jump there, one thing I did want to say is that interaction is, I think, what sets it apart from everything, because we talk a lot about the novice angler and how do you get into it if you want to get into it. Well, we also want to make it clear that we're not just wanting to be that resource. The forum is a great opportunity for an experienced angler to actually just spread his knowledge to some of the other people who have other questions. And there may be a guy who's just getting into it who asks a question. And what I love about the forums is they're not just waiting for us to answer. They're looking for the anglers, the people that are just doing it to answer. And that interaction, I think, is what we're really looking for. And I think you're doing a good job at building that. So yeah, go ahead. I just wanted to add that. I just think it's pretty cool. I don't want everybody to think that this is just a novice thing.
No.
This is for just guys to shoot ideas, guys and gals to just like-minded people, like you said.
Yeah, and social media, your Instagram, your Facebook groups, all of those have advantages, right? They're quick, they're easy. It's easy to share photos on them. You can get quick answers. I think the biggest difference is I'm sure everyone's experienced it. You can see a post, and maybe it was from a family member or a friend, right? Even on your own Insta or Facebook feed, for example. And then you want to go back and find it. And once you view it and scroll, there's a good chance you'll never find it again. The way Facebook does their algorithms, and all the social media apps will do their algorithms, and just the volume of posts that people you follow will post, that stuff just gets absolutely buried or disappears to the ether. So I would say the biggest advantage to joining a forum, especially in a sport where you want to learn or share, is the fact that all these discussions get to have their own light, and they are archived. They're easy to find. If you ask, how do I install my Van Hunks pike fin? Well, that's going to be its own post for anyone to always see. Even if it doesn't get a response for 6 months down the road, someone's going to be able to come back and get all the answers for that. I posed a question recently. What are the biggest waves that people have taken on in their fishing kayaks? I just recently went on my fishing trip to northern Minnesota, and this time it was a boat trip. Next year I plan to take the fishing kayaks, but there were 5-foot rollers. Well, I'm new to the sport, right? I wanted to know from people who have experienced it, what's the biggest wave you've comfortably have taken on? I want to know from the experts in that situation, right? And I got to believe that I'm not the only one, asking those questions.
It's amazing what a fish will make us do.
Yeah. And if somebody says never bigger than 3-foot rollers, then you can make a good decision before you make a bad. So, yeah.
I mean, I had to think, right? I was like, well, maybe I could scoot through some of these, but it was big open water, and I just was like, well, this has got to be more than what people are probably comfortable taking on. But without knowing that, I wanted to just know and learn, how do people take themselves through those steps? How do you get to be an expert, right? But you do it by researching, and our customer service staff is absolutely phenomenal. But sometimes customers just want to hear from people who are in the same shoes as them.
Right.
And that is, I'm getting in this kayak for the 3rd time. It's pretty choppy. There's white caps out there. What exactly do I do? How do scupper plugs work? All of those simple questions, even when you're just getting started, are extremely valuable to someone. But we've had some pretty advanced posts too about, power blocks and all that, and those kind of things for some of the old town autopilots and some of the advanced kayaks. So like you said, it's not just for newcomers. It's for everybody. And really, the goal would be is maybe even taking it beyond fishing kayaks too, and having it be a straight up fishing forum, right? Talking about, we've had a few posts about specific waters. The people that are going to those waters are in fishing kayaks, which is great, but this really is supposed to be a resource from top to bottom. So, the biggest difference is that I think you form more meaningful relationships, and the conversations get to have their own light rather than being posted and lost to the ether, right? You can dive really deep on a topic.
Yeah. And, we've talked about in our previous episodes about what we talk to customers about when they come in, and how we do it. And, the first question we all ask as specialists with kayaks is, what body of water? And if we think they're going to be out on the rollers, then we know which direction to send them, or if they're a river or whatever that is. That's what the beauty of the forum is because if a guy's looking for a kayak on Marketplace because that's what his budget is, or he wants to get into it, the forum is still a great avenue for him to go on and find out those questions and ask those questions and get some good solid feedback from other anglers, not just somebody trying to sell them a kayak. So I like that. And Facebook is tough for me. I just saw a post the other day on a kayaking website, and a guy put a kayak in the back of his truck, had a small truck, and he strapped it in, and his simple question was, is this the way I should strap in my kayak? There was, I think, 18 posts. There were 3 that had any kind of courtesy or validity to them at all, and the rest were all just hammering the poor guy. Buy a new kayak, that's junk. I was like, come on, man. So I think you get that, you get rid of some of that in a forum, because you're, like you said, it's like-minded individuals that are trying to learn or teach. I think a forum needs both. It needs a guy who is an excellent angler and kayaker that wants to get on there and just answer questions. If that's what you like, man, we would love to have you come on and just helping out the average guy or the new guy. And I think that's what turns me off about actually asking those questions there. It just runs people off a little bit.
I think you bring up a good point. I call it the pile-on effect. On social media, it's so easy to be, we've all experienced it, whether it's kayaking or just, you post how your day went, right? It's so easy to be negative and pile on to those topics, and you just don't experience that quite as much in a forum. And if you do, those people kind of weed themselves out because they don't get replies, or quite honestly, I'm a moderator. That's my job, right? I'm there to make sure every post that's made, I will read, and I'll only alter it if it, is abusive towards others or vulgar, but there is somebody there always kind of keeping their eye out for that information. But you just probably wouldn't get that on a forum. No one's going to come on there. And if they do, then we would be there to kind of steer the course back. But yeah, how unfortunate that somebody's just looking for some advice and then is told that their kayak is junk.
Yeah.
Not everyone buys at a different rate, right? And you buy what you can buy and you save what you can save to afford. It's just really unfortunate. So as the moderator, I'll go ahead and say, and the community manager, I'll go ahead and say, I wouldn't stand for that kind of behavior. Well, because really it's about being helpful and being positive and sharing experiences.
Well, we definitely respect that. And that's how Eco does things. And I'm proud of that. And I'll tell you, we get customers in here a lot that come in the door as a storefront, and they're like, holy cow, it's just not in their budget. And they're going to go buy a Lifetime from Walmart. And I tell them they're a fine kayak. If get into that, my hope is, I tell them all the time, go get it, bring it back here. We'll help you rig it. We'll help you, make sure that you have the tools on it that you need. And my hope is that you absolutely fall in love with it, and this is where you buy your next kayak. So, we tell people all the time, in our shows and in our shop, is just get on the water. Get on the water. That's what we want to be, to help you with, and that's where the resources come from with us. Is we don't ever hammer anybody's products or what they're in. We just want to make it worth everybody's time to get on the water and have fun and enjoy the sport we love.
Yeah, I mean, I can easily say, the difference of leaving from a boat to a kayak is night and day. No pun intended. And my wife will probably listen to this and roll her eyes when I say, I'm hooked.
That's awesome.
Right? But I really am. And even just a sidestep, even some of the forum stuff, it's been great for me to learn. I've been selfishly using it as well, trying to stoke conversations because I'm just trying to be a sponge. I can't believe how humbling it is to be a lifetime angler and jump into a kayak and all of a sudden not be able to catch anything. And every time I go out, have to adjust my tackle box because it's just so different, right? It's so different. And man, I want to catch trout for my kayak so bad, and I can't get anything. My kid's crushing me. And that kid's got a horseshoe over him though. He catches anything using anything. It's maddening. I love it, but at some point I have to cut him off. Like, all right, you're done. It's my turn now.
Yeah. Move over.
Yeah.
Let's dig into that a little bit more. As far as, having a bass boat or a boat or, a different form of, watercraft. It really is. And like you said, it's tough going from that and being able to run to spots or know spots that you have and run, 10, 15, 20 miles down the lake. You really have to, especially when you're fishing, plan your trip and plan where you're going and map study and all that. Ultimately you're still trying to catch fish and whatnot, but how has that experience been for you going from the boat to the kayak? Of course, I think one of the crutches is not being able to cover more water, from a kayak, but I think there's also huge advantages of just fishing from a kayak in general.
Yeah. That would be the first thing I definitely noticed was it is more planning for your trip, right? It's more than just gassing up your boat and getting to a public launch and launching and having all day to cover the entire lake if you want to. It is picking where you launch, and then the amount of, good effort, right? It takes some effort to get to spots, but I do like already that I've found some spots that I used to notice from a boat, right? And be like, well, that spot looks like it's great. There's no way I can get to it. And now, you can snake right back into some tight spots, and that's been a lot of fun. My next adventures are going to be places where a boat couldn't even go, right? I'm going to start hitting some of these smaller trout streams that aren't even necessarily accessible by wading at some points because it's, middle of summer now or towards the end of summer. So everything's overgrown. So, just the jump, I would say the jump from a boat to a kayak, that's the biggest difference, right? Is how much ground you can cover. And there's ways around that, right? With your autopilots and powered kayaks and I have the Van Hunk's Pike fin drive. So that gives me a little bit more, than just paddling too. So, but that has been the challenge. Before I jumped down with you guys, I was looking at the Minnesota DNR interactive, water access map to see where they're all at around me. Because I'm just going to try and start hitting all these places that you can't get to by boat.
So have you had the moment, I've been kayaking 30 years, so, but I still have those moments that I feel like is totally different than a boat, that you're out on the water, even on water you've been on hundreds of times, that you just have that kind of decompression moment where you just kind of put your paddle down, look around and go, this is amazing. Have you had those moments and being that close to the water in a kayak out in places where, you're usually doing 40 mile an hour on a boat, going by, where you're just in it and you just look around and go, it's a beautiful world we live in,
Yeah, almost every time I get in it, right? It's just a whole different experience. I explain it as it's just a more intimate experience with the water. All these spots that you go to, it's just different when you're in a boat. There is almost just that level where you're not, I don't know, sitting in a kayak. It just feels like you're sitting and floating in the water. Well, you are obviously, but it's hard to put into words, right? It's just different. I have a really close trout pond to me. It used to be a rock quarry, so it's like 44 feet deep at its deepest. And it's got rainbow trout in it. And they got fishing piers, but in the summer you can't find them. They just go so deep. That was the first place we took the kayaks because it's not big, it's never choppy. I was like, well, let's go learn about them there. And there was kind of that aha moment where we got out to the middle, and it's crystal clear water, and you're looking 25 feet down, and it's just like, I've been coming to this pond to swim and fish for 30 years now, and I had no idea that it was this deep, this clear, and it was almost intimidating in a weird way. But it was kind of one of those moments. It's like, all right, yep, this new lifestyle and this new way of fishing is for us.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
The update is I haven't caught any trout from there yet, though.
Yeah. Me and Johnathan may have to come up sometime and just kind of check those holes out for you and just make sure that there's fish in them for you.
Well, you guys can take my son then.
Yeah.
Because he'll find them for you.
And if you want to come down here, I have a honey hole.
Oh my gosh.
That we could probably get in. We have to talk about the honey hole, that Johnathan's honey hole that is everybody's honey hole. We talk about that on just about every episode. It's just it's kind of our welcome Matt Damon moment,
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, we can really put it to the test then and prove if it's really a honey hole, because my family always jokes that my older brother could be a trout guide. He just loves it, and he always goes, it's like, I caught like 12 here yesterday, and if you bring me with, there are just those days where if I'm with, it is 0.
Yeah.
So we can give those a test. My family sometimes doesn't invite me with because I'm like the anti-fish somehow. I know where to go. I know what I'm doing. They just don't like me.
I really liked how you talked about you've been to a spot, multiple times to fish and swim from the bank. And I know, last year I was chasing AOY for the online tournaments and whatnot. And it was really cool finding bodies of water like that are off the beaten path that the local guys love and fish a lot. And it's their spot. But it's really cool finding new spots and going to new water. Robbie talked about it too. His favorite lake was a new lake that he's never been to. And that's really the huge upside to kayak fishing. You can rivers, lakes, you can get to spots where, maybe there hasn't been anybody fishing, depending on how long you want to drag that kayak, how far up that river you want to go. And I think that's really a huge advantage to kayak fishing. I know it's probably a lot less upkeep and storage than a boat, but there's also huge advantages to it. And I think that's one thing that keeps me in a kayak. I love bass fishing, but I don't think I'd ever leave a bass fishing, leave a kayak to go into the bass boat side. It'd be tough for me.
And it's also a different community, and I think we see that on the forums as well. We've talked about this in the past, but the kayak community is just so different. You go to a kayak tournament, and even if you're brand new, we highly suggest people giving a tournament a try. Even if you're not interested in doing tournaments, if you're looking to meet like-minded people who are doing the same thing you love on a weekly basis, a tournament's a great place to go because everybody is welcoming. Whether it be Camo or Moyak in our local area, but any state that you're in, if you go just do a tournament, you will meet guys that you will end up fishing with. That's just kind of the way it has been. Kayakers are like Jeep owners. You wave, and y'all are doing the same thing, and you talk about the spots that you go and what you're fishing with, and that don't happen with a bass boat. The bass boat guys are just a different breed. But I'm happy where I'm at.
Yeah, me too.
So.
Justin, tell us how to get onto the forum and get involved with that.
Yeah, so it's just kayakanglersresource.com. I believe it's linked below these videos too. You can get to it from the ecofishing website, ecofishingshop.com website. It's at the top in the forum. But I will say, I think one of the barriers that prevents people from joining forums at times is just that it can be scary or just seem like it might be work to join a whole new way of doing it. Facebook is at this point is like breathing to most of us, right? It's just easy to do. It's part of your being. We have it set up so that you can actually just log in through Facebook using your account. So really you're like one click away from doing it. And you can still change your username. So if you want to be anonymous and not give away too much detail, that's totally fine. So yeah, it's really easy to join. I think the barrier is, another barrier that is just that people are hesitant to join something new. I can tell you that it is really easy to learn. And you can filter out any of the the way you're alerted by posts. You can do all that. I'm there to help with that too, right? If people have questions, but I really think it is kind of just like jumping into a kayak, right? Like just take the plunge. I think people will appreciate it, especially if you're new to the sport too, or thinking about a kayak, or want to meet other people who are maybe tournament fishermen too, right? To kind of share those experiences and stories. I just think if you take the plunge and step in, I think people will really appreciate what we offer.
I think so too. Justin, 2 questions. Really interested to hear one. First question is, what's your next kayak? If you had to pick one, what's your next kayak after seeing them on a daily basis and that? Where are you at right now?
Well, so interesting. I actually have hemophilia, which is a bleeding disorder, right? So my blood doesn't clot on its own. And from that, I've got a lot of joint damage. So I've had my right knee replaced, and I only have like 0 to 95 for flexibility. So that's kind of what actually led me to the fin drive, right? Just doing research, I didn't think I would be able to do a full pedal drive, and maybe I could, right? I don't know what the actual revolution and all that actually is.
I think I know where he's going with this.
So do I. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Yeah, right. So that's a long-winded way. I know I was going to ask you how much time do you have. It was a long-winded way of saying my next one probably would be a fin drive, right? So I would probably look at a Hobie just for what you can do with the fin drives. I've already encountered I didn't think not having reverse would be that big of a deal until I hit a tree stump the first time I went out. I have no idea how I did that.
Yeah.
Just looking off at the beautiful sunset, I'm sure, and wham! Luckily, I didn't do anything to do it, but I was just like, it would be nice to have some reverse. So that's probably where I would be leaning to. But I really do like the blue Old Towns too.
Yeah.
So if I took a really decided to step up, I would probably do a powered one too, right? With a Minn Kota.
Right.
But we'll see. I don't know if I'm quite there yet. I got to figure out how to catch fish first, and then I'll decide that I'm ready to keep climbing the ladder.
There you go. Well, for reference, reverse doesn't help after you hit the stump. So you would have still hit the stump. But and last question, which this one I'm kind of excited about because you're in Minnesota. You're fishing different fish than we are. We always ask everybody one bait that you can take on the water. What's your go-to, the one thing you just never go without?
So bait or lure, does it matter?
Nope, either or.
Around here in southeast Minnesota, I've got the Countdown brown trout Rapala. So I think it's the Countdown number 5 would be for the size. I have a river that's pretty close to me, and my brother and I found a spot where a trout stream spills into the river, and we've caught a muskie from there. A trophy walleye has come out of there. My older brother just caught a brown trout that's going on the wall about couple weeks ago, all from this same spot, and all on just that little Countdown number 5 brown trout Rapala.
And that's that's kind of like similar to jerkbait, right?
Yeah. So this one, it's you would reel this one back pretty steady.
Okay.
Right. It's just a cast and retract one, but yeah, that would probably be the one, at least around here.
Well, very cool, Justin, buddy. We appreciate you having you on today. We appreciate all the information. And you guys can go on. We'll have all Justin's information, and just know that if you go to the forums and you have questions, he's going to be the guy that's the moderator and will help in any way. And, buddy, we appreciate having you on today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
But I'll link all that stuff in the description. But seriously, Justin, thank you. It's been really cool watching the forum grow and people interact and just building that overall community.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thanks for your time, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, again, guys, we want to thank Justin for coming on and all his hard work on the forum. It's really cool to see him on there and interact with all of you guys and help you through your kayak experience. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know or get to see it, that's actually the first time we got to meet Justin as well. Man. We talked to him on via email or Slack or whatever. Tech thing that we have, but we've never got to actually talk to the guy. So it was actually really fun. I got to talk to him a little bit when he did his kayaks. And I'll tell you, the cool thing about that guy is
when he decided he was going to get kayaks, he did reach out to me, and it was just like he was a customer that walked in the door. He was like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting a tandem, so me and my son can go, or me and my wife, and we really walked through the same things we've been talking about here, and at the end of the day, he picked what he thought was right for him, and he's been really happy with them, and did what a lot of guys do. He as soon as he got it, he loves them, but he's already kind of thinking about what's going to be next. And we're proud to have him as part of our team. Very lucky to have a guy that came from the Mayo Clinic. Forums is what he does, and he's doing a great job. So we're happy to have him and blessed that he's on our team.
Yeah, he's one of those guys on there that's always looking at stuff, always paying attention, always tracking stuff down. So if you got any questions for him, jump on there. Tag him in your question or anything. Use him as a resource just as much. If he can't answer that question, he'll direct it to us. If we can't answer it, we'll either figure it out or we'll figure out how else so we can help you. But he's just one of those guys that he's always on there, always learning, always soaking this stuff up. And again, just great job on there. Like we talked about, there's an app, there's the website. You can go through ecofishing.com, fishingshop.com. You can get onto Facebook and get linked directly to that. And we'll put all this information down in the description below. And that way you can get to it easily. If it's one of those things that, hey, it's just not another thing that I want to do, maybe it's one of those things you can focus on one thing that you're trying to do, whether it's rigging your kayak or buying a kayak or whatever it is, but you can get on there and really, choose and pick and focus on what you want to watch or what you want to read and kind of information you want to get on there.
Yeah, it's really the information that you want, which is cool. You can kind of go look through the different forum chats, or the threads, and find out if there's anything that you're interested in. But if there's not, and you have a question, just ask. Those questions will be answered by either other anglers, or it'll filter to us, and we'll make sure and get questions answered. And we like good conversation. That's the biggest thing is, being able to actually just talk is a lot of fun. And especially in the wintertime or when everything gets slow. I mean, I think that's when people lean on some of those things to kind of stay in the action. And that's when typically your kayak is sitting in your garage and you're trying to re-rig or trying to figure out what you're going to do to be ready for next year, whether you're a tournament guy or you're not. I mean, but even, how to store your kayaks, how to haul your kayaks. I mean, it's just endless, guys. Whatever you need, that's a great place to get answers.
Yeah, Travis, he's kind of old school. He loves jumping on the phone and having a conversation or talking in person, but maybe that's not your cup of tea. And the forum is perfect for you. Just get on there, talk about what you want. It's nothing crazy. You can be as anonymous as you want as well, and just get the information you need. So just hopefully it's a resource for you. Like that's what we're wanting to. But hopefully it's something that, maybe we don't have the right answer. Maybe we think differently, and that's just another opportunity to get other ideas from other people.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about that before, Justin. Even if it's just telling your experience with a new boat. I mean, we talked about the NAR a little bit. If I would love to see somebody get on there and just say, hey, I have one. Yeah. This is what I think. You're helping other anglers out, and it may help you as well. I mean, you may say another guy may have one as well and throw something in there. But if you've got a new boat, or if there's a boat that, it doesn't have to be something that we have here. If you just bought a new Hoodoo, or something, and you're rigging them up, or maybe you have a Lifetime, maybe you have a kayak that you got, and a new kayak's not in the budget right now, but you want to figure out how to turn that thing into a fishing vessel. Man, it's just endless and could be a lot of fun, to be quite honest. Johnathan and I are going to do a much better job moving forward of trying to interact with it and do more, because I just think that it is a very valuable resource to the fishing community.
Yep, definitely. Big Bass 250, get signed up. We keep talking about it, and we'll keep on talking about it till November 6th. But until then, get signed up. It's going to be a great time. Travis and I constantly on a daily basis thinking like, hey, what are we going to do? What can we give away? What's going to really get guys here? And we're just excited about it. It's going to be a great time. No matter what happens, no matter who shows up, it's going to be a great time, but we want you guys to be part of it. So get signed up. If you have issues like, hey, maybe it's a money thing, maybe something else, contact us. Let us know. Ultimately, we want you to have a great experience, and that's what it's going to be about. So if we need help with the boat or something, whatever, reach out to us. But we just want to get as many people, advanced, new, any kind of kayakers that want to go on there. Maybe you just want to come down and experience a tournament. It's a great time to do it. I mean, I don't know of another time that you can go out fish a tournament and win 10 grand, just maybe your first tournament.
Yeah, that, and there's no pressure as far as, you have your investment in the entry fee, but there's really no pressure, because when you do a trail, there's a little pressure every time because you're trying to get AOI points, and you've got to do so many tournaments and this and that. Guys, this one's just going to be, pay your entry fee and come have some fun.
Yeah.
And then hopefully, you're lucky enough to put some money in the bank. We put some serious money in the coffers for this. So some cool stuff. We're going to have a really good dinner and awards ceremony afterwards, because I want it to be a presentation. I want it to be fun. So we're going to do a lot of that kind of stuff. Also getting a lot of attention from vendors. So I think I talked to Jeff Little today from Torquedo, and he's going to do his best to try to be here. Probably set up a tent and talk Torquedo a little bit. Also, in the next few episodes, Jeff will end up being one of our guests. Also, Greg Blanchard is going to be a guest on the show. So we've got some really cool stuff coming up on the podcast, and we appreciate you guys being a part of it.
Yeah, make sure to stay tuned. Subscribe, put that notification bell on. That way you get all that information on there. If you're not a part of the forum, I definitely recommend getting on there. And as we talked about today, it's just a wealth of knowledge on there. In other eco fishing news, we got some exciting news, huh?
100%. Johnathan and I would like to first say welcome to the EFS family, Stella Ray Braun.
Stella Ray Braun, Caleb, congratulations, man. Absolutely cutie pie.
I tell you what, Caleb and Liz can sell some kayaks and make beautiful babies. They got it figured out. And we're lucky enough to be part of it. But in all seriousness, congratulations to you guys. Stella took her time, but she's here, beautiful, and we're just happy for them. Very happy.
Yeah, we're really excited to be part of her first podcast too in her life.
100%. That was first thing she did, first TV experience was watching the podcast. So very cool. My wife can't wait to put the squeeze on her. So we just wanted to say that and welcome her to the family.
Absolutely.
Guys, thank you very much for watching. Time for bed, Stella. We got to go. Another episode of the books. Peace.
See you guys.